my name is Lochan, and I'll be conducting this session with you. Very good afternoon once again. And the session is about how to have engaging classrooms and happy learners. So this will not be a lecture. I'm incapable of giving any lecture.
Is hidden in your topic of workshop itself. If the classroom is engaging, the learners will be happy.
Very true. Satisfied learners, yes, very true.
If readiness and joy is a part of learning,
Readiness to learn is the part of a happy learner and joy of learning. Okay. When the learner feels respected, very important. How often do we enter the, yeah, like to add something? Can't hear you. No fear, absolutely right. When there's no fear of, in that process of learning. How often as teachers do we enter the classroom with the intent of teaching? Wanting to teach. By hook or crook, wanting to teach. How many of you enter the classroom with the intent of wanting to teach? Please raise your hands. Wanting to teach. उनको पढ़ाना है. You wanted to enjoy. Okay. How many of you make any effort towards, conscious effort towards having a class full of happy learners? Conscious effort. Conscious effort. Okay, so that's about 20%, 25%. 30%. Sometimes. So it's only sometimes that you want your students to be happy learners? Okay. And what do you do when you make a conscious effort towards having a class full of happy learners? What do you do? Sorry? Effective learning, that's a result of having happy learners. What do you do to have a class full of happy learners? I won't be able to reach you, your voice won't be able to reach here. Involved. Sorry? Telling stories. Okay, making it interesting by stories, etc.
It starts when we enter in the class, the gesture that we show to the students to the point where we are introducing the topic and till the end, the recapitulation part.
So the moment you step foot into that haloed classroom, you send out a message to those learners what your intent is. आज तो इनको सिखा के छोड़ूंगी या आज engage करूंगी या करूंगा and we'll come out having a wonderful time. Does it happen? How many of you does this resonate with? आप में से कितने लोगों के साथ ये बात मेल खाती है, आपकी मानसिकता के साथ मेल खाती है जब आप क्लासरूम में एंटर करते हैं, क्लासरूम में कदम रखा and you see complete disarray. I mean, if there's chaos that can manifest in the school, it's in between classes or after the break, perhaps. That's the high point, the zenith of the chaos. But then in between classrooms is no better. So you see complete chaos, kids running after each other or just trying to unwind after the previous session. What is there in your mind? Oh my God, look at these guys. अब फिर इनको चिल्लाना पड़ेगा, फिर इनको settle करना पड़ेगा. I've just come from another group which gave me a tough time and now I'll have to face these guys. Or worse, when you came into the school that morning, you had a tough time at home. Or the previous evening, you had a conversation with your spouse which did not go very well. Or maybe with your family, your kids, or your mother-in-law or somebody else who's a treasure in your life. You did not have a good time. And you carry that not so good time when you get onto the bus, you're thinking about it. When you enter the school, you exchange pleasantries, smiles with those colleagues of yours. At the back of your mind, whenever there is a break, because that interaction was so negative, it was so negative, it has the potential to just drain your entire day. And whenever you're walking from one classroom to another, or maybe you walk from your classroom, you finish a class, you walk to the staff room to collect your thoughts or your books or whatever resources you have to collect. And just that gap of 2 minutes, 3 minutes is enough for those unpleasant memories to come back. It's enough. Because the mind, many people have done this workshop in Didac, Mumbai last year. And I said, it's impossible to just turn off and turn on. People talk about having two compartments in the mind. One compartment for your professional life, one compartment for your personal life. Impossible. We are human beings. We're not machines. We're not robots where you can, program yourself in such a way. Whatever happens in your professional life will have a spillover into your personal life. Whatever happens in your personal life will have some spillover in your professional life. And if you allow that to spill over into the other sphere, you're not doing justice to either. Not doing justice to either. You had a terrible evening. As a result, you couldn't have a good night's sleep. You're tossing, turning, a terrible night's sleep. What would be your state of mind when you wake up? You'll feel really fresh, ready to take on anything that the world throws at you. Or you'll say, oh my God, another day, bachon ka tiffin, husband ka breakfast, blah, blah, and then again back to school. Today I have to go to class 11, and they are they're just not there for studying. They're just there to have a good time. It's going to be a bad day. That's what you tell yourself. Or a specific, you're not all there. You're not all there. You're just scattered. And with that frame of mind, you come to school. With that frame of mind, you take a step into that classroom. And you're assuming that you've kept it so close to yourself that nobody else knows what problems you're having in your personal life. That whatever problems we are having in our personal life, nobody else is able to make out. Right? We assume that, right? Is there anybody who doesn't assume that? You assume that. You're pretty good at wearing masks, right? So we've got this solid mask in front. Nobody else can get a peep into what's happening, the turmoil, the volcanoes that are ready to erupt within. Whatever is happening within us does not remain confined to this body. Does not remain confined to this body. Does not. Whoever comes in contact with us, whoever comes in physical contact or even close to us, will sense that turmoil even if they are at a distance from us. Because the vibrations of that turmoil travel beyond this physical body. Travel beyond this physical body. For example, there is somebody at a position, which is much superior to yours, much superior, a couple of levels higher than yours. And because of your professional responsibilities, you have to go and interact with that person for, let's say, 5 or 10 minutes. You have to. And that person is one of the most disturbed people around in that organization. Very irritable, prone to anger, prone to outbursts of negativity. How much do you look forward to that interaction? Do you say, yes, I have to go and meet that person? Or do you say, oh my God, I have to be very careful now? And those 5 minutes or 2 minutes that you have to spend with that person, how long does that duration seem? Like 1 hour? Anybody else? Like one day? It seems like you're constantly thinking within yourself, when will this end? When will this end? Why? That person on that day was not angry with you. That on that day he did not shout at you, but that person carries a certain sense of negativity all throughout, perhaps, which does not remain confined to that person. Right? How many of you have experienced it in your life? Forget about personal or professional, in life, where there's a person who's very negative, and when you come in contact with that person, you don't feel very comfortable. Please raise your hands. Okay, almost everybody. How do you think your students will be different? How do you imagine that your students will be any different? In fact, the ones who are in the younger classes, will be even more perceptive. The ones who are in maybe class, up to class 3, 4, 5, because they're still in those wonder years. Innocence, till the time it lasts, retains that inquisitiveness, that curiosity, that sense of extrasensory perception, if you might call it. But education, parenting and growing up kills that innocence, unfortunately. It kills that innocence. So the younger kids will immediately sense something is wrong because they're able to catch on to those vibes which you're sending out. Older ones, they've lost that innocence, maybe they're not there. How can you then create happy classrooms? How can you create happy learners if you yourself are not happy? So this educator in Mumbai, she completely disagreed. She said, "Sir, I would like to completely disagree with you." So I said, "Please, ma'am." So I gave her the mic and she had her say. She said, "I come into the classroom and then I'm completely in a different zone. I forget what's happened in the house, I forget what's happened in my personal life, and I just deliver what I have to." Yes, maybe true, but then it would be mechanical. You're not connected. If you're not connected, then you will meet with mechanical responses. Everyone understood? Yes, ma'am. Any doubts? No, ma'am. Mechanical, yeah. You want to disagree with me strongly?
No, I would not disagree with you, but I am a center head of a preschool. So there I feel when you enter the class, so much positive vibes are coming out of those young children. And I can relate to that teacher if she's working with the preschool children. I too feel the same because when you enter or step inside the school, all your worries are gone. So when I see the faces of my children, I feel I'm in a different place altogether.
Thank you so much. That's been absolutely my experience. It completely resonates with what I've experienced so far. It's an opportunity. There are certain professions who are blessed. Only if you see the blessing. Doctors, educators, and a couple of more, but doctors and educators are blessed because they actually get paid to enrich their life. You are getting paid to actually enrich your life. But your life will only get enriched if you approach what you're doing with the right perspective, with the right perception, with the right mindset. If your mindset is to grow, अगर आप वाकई grow करना चाहते हैं as a human being, interact with the kids. You will know within a day where you stand. You will know within a day. Forget a day. You will know in a couple of hours where you stand. The kids by nature will constantly test you, push their boundaries. I'm talking about when they don't know their boundaries with you. When they're new with you, right? If they've already spent a couple of weeks with you, they know कहाँ तक push कर सकते हैं और कहाँ पे फिर you will bring out the armament, heavy armament. So they will push. They'll push more. Right? Depending on where you break or not, according to that, they will connect with you. If you do not, if when they keep on pushing and you just keep on smiling or making adjustments, then they will open up their life to you. They'll open up their life to you. This has been my experience. I've been interacting with kids, with educators across India and outside for the past almost 18 plus years. This has been my experience. And it doesn't take a long time. We have these sessions which we do with kids where they're just for about 48 hours or less. Even in that short time, you can connect with them and they can just open out to you. Once they've opened out to you, then they are yours. Then they're completely yours. Then you can mold them. You can offer them whatever you want to offer them in terms of their intellectual growth or even their growth as human beings. Completely dependent on you. But if not, then you will just get mechanical responses to what you say. Somebody said fear. One of the biggest obstacles in a classroom is fear. I asked this question of students. How many of you are scared in the classroom? Students. This question is asked to the students, not to the teachers. I saw some hands. Okay, so I asked this question to the students. How many of you are scared in the classroom? So very few will raise their hand. They'll look around and they'll raise their hand very reluctantly. Because it's a very macho thing not to be scared. Very macho. I'm not scared of anything. And then I will start asking specific questions. Are you confident of coming up in front of 30 kids, 40 kids and talking? How many of you are? 5, 6 hands will go up. What about rest of you? No. Why? Because invariably it comes out. It's the fear of what the others will think of us. And it's not limited to your kids. It's not limited to your students. Many of you out here have that same fear. Have that exactly the same fear. Many of you. I would say almost 80-90% of you will have that exact same fear. In spite of being teachers, in spite of being educators who go in front of one class after another for almost 200 days in a year, you will still have that fear. And where do you show that fear? Where do you exhibit it? When you go and stand in front of somebody who's at a couple of levels higher than you. Maybe the principal, the headmaster, the education officer. They'll ask you something and you'll be shivering inside. You might not shiver outside. Inside you'll be shivering, you'll be trembling. If you take the fear out of education, if you take the fear out of learning, learning will go to another dimension, it'll attain another paradigm completely. If you take the fear out of learning. If you do not kill the curiosity, most educators say, oh, there's so much to complete. The syllabus is so vast, we just can't, entertain all kinds of questions and all kinds of levels of learning, etc. You can still do a very good job. You just have to empathize. You just have to put yourself in their shoes. Most of the kids who carry scars, or most of us as adults carry scars which prevent us from maximizing our potential, and those scars go back to the age of 5, 6, 7, because some educator in their life, some adult in their life said something so hurtful which caused a scar for the rest of their life. It scarred them for the rest of their life. Don't do this. Please don't do this. Because not only are you damaging another life, you are inflicting the same very scars on yourself. Because whatever goes out comes back. It's law of nature. It's law of nature. Whatever you give will come back to you. You give love and compassion, it'll come back to you. If you give understanding, it'll come back to you. I can't give what I don't have. How many of you want your family, your loved ones to have peace and happiness in life? Everyone hasn't raised their hands. So those who haven't raised their hands are either sleeping or disagree with me. Okay, now I see a few more hands going up. Sorry? No, they were sleeping. Okay. So, is it possible to give it? If you don't have it? Sorry? Impossible. If I'm not feeling peace and happiness myself, can I share it with my family, with my loved ones, my children, my wife, my spouse? I can't. But I still want the best for them. I still want the best for them. And what do I give them? The turmoil which I'm carrying within me, the frustrations that I'm carrying within me, the anger that I'm carrying within me, the same thing I'm giving to my kids at home, the same thing I'm carrying to the kids in school, and that's how life has been going. And then very often we complain, it's all because of these parents. It's all because of these parents. They don't teach their kids anything. They don't I meet 90% of the educators I meet are always blaming the parents. Always blaming the parents. Forget about it. Forget about what the parents are doing. They're with you 6-7 hours a day. Okay, not 6-7 hours, with one educator, with multiple of them. But they're with you every day. You get quality time with them. And they've opened up. They're willing to open up. You are the role model, at least till a particular age. Are you fulfilling that role of a role model? So before you start trying to create happy learners, first create happiness within yourself. First center yourself before you enter the classroom. Because if you're not centered, if you're not balanced before you enter the classroom, you cannot expect, absolutely impossible to expect a centered, settled class. Impossible. Impossible. Okay? Clear? Does anybody have anything to add to it, say to, share about this? Anything? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
There is one incident basically in the classroom. Actually, my cousin got dead and I got around 70 missed calls at that time. And I was taking the class. I have seen that, okay, there is some emergency, like I have not picked the phone. And then when I just called back, I came to know that he is no more. But I know that there are 70 students in front of me and I have to justify them. So with the same pace, I did the same thing. I completed my responsibility. And after that, I attended the family functions family responsibility, whatever it was. How exactly I got inspired with this? Because basically it can help all the educators. सरदार पटेल जी के बारे में ऐसा कहा गया था कि एक बार उनकी वाइफ की डेथ हो गई. जस्ट फिनिशिंग, जस्ट अ मिनट. तो वो एक केस लड़ रहे थे कोर्ट में. तो उन्होंने कहा कि वो तो जा चुकी थी, क्या मैं इसको भी जेल हो जाने देता. और वो उसी पैशन के साथ उस केस को लड़ते रहे और वो जीत गए. और उसके बाद फाइनली ही वेंट होम एंड देन बाकी चीज़ें कंप्लीट की. सो दिस इज आई थिंक दैट व्हाट वी एजुकेटर्स नीड एट द मोस्ट थिंग. आई एग्री विद यू दैट we go with the emotions, but if we control our emotions and we deliver whatever we want, we are the best teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. So that's the first aspect. And then how do you make it engaging? What prevents the classroom from being, an engaged classroom? What's the biggest challenge of an educator? Okay, so very little time left. So I'll answer my questions myself. The biggest challenge for an educator is distracted minds, scattered minds, where physically they are present there, but mentally they are everywhere but there. They might be thinking about the classroom, the playground, the movie, the internet, WhatsApp, their girlfriends, their boyfriends, zillions of things. But what you're saying, completely disconnected. How do you address this? How many of you try to address this? The distracted minds, which invariably 90% of the students or even more have in almost every class. You try to address this? Okay. A very simple and effective way of addressing this before the class starts is just having them shut their eyes, and observe their breath. Observe their breath. Very simple, very simple, and extremely powerful and completely non-religious. Till the time you do not add any chant, any word, any alphabet, any visualization to it, it's completely non-religious. And extremely powerful, extremely powerful. You will find results coming within a few days. Within a few days, you'll find your classroom settling down. Just 2-3 minutes before you start it anyways takes you about 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes to settle down the class when you come in. Right? You have to constantly tell them, okay, settle down, settle down, settle down. And if it's after the break, then this 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes might be slightly longer because they're more scattered. So you have to settle them down constantly. Just use that time which you're telling them to settle down, to just sit on their chairs with their eyes closed and observe their breath as it is. Very different from pranayam. It is not pranayam. Opposite of pranayam. Pranayam is conscious control of your respiration. Very powerful technique, extremely powerful technique. But this is exactly the opposite. This is passive observation of the respiration. Passive observation of your respiration as it is, without trying to change it. Would you like to try it? Okay, so yeah, it's also called. It was started about 2 years back, where a whole lot of principals and teachers from the Delhi schools were sent for these courses. But till the time it is not implemented on a daily basis. Implemented where? Yeah, but see, I've been through the happiness curriculum. They're not focusing on any one technique. They're focusing on multiple techniques. So it's like, putting yourself in 2-3 boats together. How many boats can you travel together in? Maximum 4 boats. One, 2 for your feet and 1 each for your hands. 4 boats you can travel. Yeah. You need to be very acrobatic to get your head in the 5th one. But maximum you can manage is 4 boats. And it's fine if they're all tied together heading in the same direction. Invariably, at some point of time, they'll pull away. That's where the confusion starts. If you're all in the same boat, you'll go much farther. The benefits will be that much more intense. I agree. I've seen, at least it's a step in the right direction. There's nothing happening earlier, nothing. I remember when we were in school. I'll just come to you. I was in school. We used to have 2 classes every week on moral science, where we used to take out a book on moral science, read 1 chapter, answer the questions at the back, and that's it. I don't remember anything. From what I read in those moral science books for 8, 9, whatever, 10 years. Nothing. It's only when there's some experiential kind of learning. there's something experiential, then it stays with us. And experiential is where you connect whatever they are learning with their everyday life. If I'm able to connect your breath with your everyday life, if I'm able to connect how observing your breath can calm your anger down, can calm your fears down, can enhance your memory, etc., etc., then if I tell you, practice it, you'll wonder why. Why should you practice it? Why should you waste your time doing this? Only if you have some takeaway. Only if it gives you something tangible will you practice anything in life. Same thing with the kids. If they don't see a takeaway, if they don't see anything tangible, it'll be just another something which school offered and they went through the motions and came out of it. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Well, sir, good afternoon. So it's my good fortune that we happen to be listening to your lecture here, the presentation that you are giving right now. And I happen to represent Department of Education I'm a mentor teacher there. So here I would like to ask you one thing. When we talked about, you said that only breathing, controlling of breathing is something that will help you a lot. And when we practice mindfulness in different forms like mindfulness, listening, and stuff like that, then it does not give me the desired result. Because I may be traveling in a number of boats, and one person can only sail through only 3-4 boats. Sir, my question is, I am sitting in a lecture where I have to innovate. You are giving me ways out. You are trying to suggest that I should be more open. I should bring in my peace, my energy into the class. Then why are we standing here with a fixed mindset rather than having a growth mindset that perhaps number of activities together they can work? So this
Right.
is my question
Okay.
to you.
So, if you recollect, I had shared that one of these techniques is observation of the breath. I never said the technique, the best technique is observation of the breath. Whatever you are following, anything, it could be, there are 32 types of techniques in this world which you can offer to the kids. You can follow one or more, but it's always recommended, highly recommended, stay with one. Stay with one. When you're offering it to somebody, stay with one. Because then they will be able to grasp it to its, subtlety. Because these techniques are so subtle. I've been practicing, similar techniques for the past 22 years. 22 years, 96 I started, very seriously. Every time I go for a retreat, another paradigm, another dimension of the same technique reveals itself. That's because I'm sticking with the same technique which enables me to go to the subtlest level of that technique. But if I'm constantly jumping from one technique to other, I will just be able to get the superficial benefit, superficial knowledge, superficial experience of what that technique has to offer. Whatever technique you are offering them, whatever. I've been through this curriculum. I've read it before it was implemented. And this was the same response which I had when I went through it. It's unfortunate that this has been implemented in such a way, but it's fortunate that at least it's been done. At least something has been done. Otherwise, they're scattered. I mean, they're crying for help. It's shocking. It's only if you're interacting with your kids, you'll realize they're crying for help. Their families are breaking up. They're growing up much before their time. They're getting things which they should not be getting at this age. And their childhood, their youth is just going to pieces. It's only a very few who are able to keep it together. For whatever reasons, maybe genetics, maybe it's their a family environment which holds them together, etc., etc. Otherwise, it's shocking. I met a gentleman from Bangalore in the previous DIDAC in Mumbai. He was a very senior official from NCRT or from Bangalore, I think. NCRT or CBSE, I don't know. Very some doctor, something. So he said we've done research, and the teen pregnancies in schools, the drug addiction, the substance abuse. I mean, he went on, and my eyes just popped out. I knew that there are problems. I did not know the extent to which these problems are there. And in these big cities, these problems are magnified many times over compared to the smaller towns, villages, etc. So if we don't offer them something to center them, to balance them right now, another 5 years, 10 years, we're looking for a society which is going to be very, very fragmented, which is going to be all over the place. We might have brilliant doctors, engineers, professionals, but it's unlikely that we'll have good human beings. It's quite unlikely. So I'm not pushing for any one technique. Not pushing for any one technique. What I'm pushing for is at least one technique which you should practice with them on a regular basis. On a regular basis. Do it yourself first. Do it yourself first. Because if you're not doing it, if you're not walking the talk, then all your talk will fall flat. Practice what you preach. All of you quite often say that. So you'll have to do it yourself. So if you'd like to, yeah, please. There's one mic out there.
Can I speak in Hindi?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
That's where the mic is. But
जैसे-
briefly.
जी बिल्कुल। जैसा कि सर आपने बताया कि किसी एक टेक्निक को ले करके हम लाइफ में आगे बढ़े उसको।
मैं सिर्फ बच्चों के लिए बोल रहा हूँ।
नहीं ठीक है,
हाँ।
बच्चों के लिए। बट मेरा ये मानना है कि आपने अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करने के लिए अपने आसपास के वातावरण को देख करके आपने एक माइंडफुलनेस या उस जैसी कोई चीज़ आपने कराई, लेकिन अगर वैल्यूज हमें इनकलकेट करनी है हमारी चाइल्ड्स में, तो उसके लिए हम क्या करें?
Right. Okay. I'll answer this. You have to connect it to. That's the takeaway. वही तो takeaway है जो आपने उनको टेक्निक ऑफर करी है। आप सुनिए। I've understood your question. Please listen. जो आपने उनको टेक्निक ऑफर करी है, you connect it with the values, you connect it with their emotions and how they can take control of their emotions and their life through that technique.
फिर प्रश्न यही है सर कि हैप्पीनेस करिकुलम में दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ने सेम यही काम किया। माइंडफुलनेस को उन्होंने स्टोरी और दूसरे मतलब एक्टिविटीज़ के साथ जोड़ करके उन वैल्यूज़ को इनकलकेट करने का प्रयास किया। जैसा कि आप कह रहे हैं कि ये हैप्पीनेस मतलब कि उस तरीके से नहीं है जिस तरह होना चाहिए, तो मैं ये जानना चाह रहा हूँ कि मुझे तो लगता है कि जो माइंडफुलनेस के थ्रू उन्होंने वैल्यूज़ इनकलकेट करने का प्रयास किया थ्रू मोरल्स स्टोरीज एंड एक्टिविटीज़, तो हमें लगता है कि दैट इज़ फाइन। बट आप जैसे बता रहे हैं कि नहीं, उसमें कुछ विसंगतियां हैं, तो मैं जानना चाहूँगा कि उसमें और क्या ऐड ऑन हो सकता है।
राइट।
यस।
उसमें सबसे अहम चीज़ है कि वो मल्टीपल टेक्निक्स यूज़ कर रहे हैं। ये इतनी सूक्ष्म टेक्निक्स हैं, इतनी सूक्ष्म विद्याएं हैं कि जो वयस्क होते हैं, बड़े लोग होते हैं, एडल्ट्स होते हैं, उनको समझने में सालों साल लग जाते हैं। और आप अगर बच्चों को 2 महीने एक टेक्निक सिखाएंगे, 1 महीने एक टेक्निक, फिर अगले महीने दूसरी टेक्निक, तीसरे महीने तीसरी टेक्निक।
नहीं, शायद सर आपको कन्वे नहीं हुआ है। वो
कौन से लेट हिम।
वो कंटिन्यूअस एक प्रोसेस है। हम उसको मतलब कि 7 डेज़ में हमने उसको उस पूरे करिकुलम को डिज़ाइन किया है और एक प्रोसेस है। मंडे को हम माइंडफुलनेस पर हम बात करते हैं और वो पूरे वीक एक एक चीज़ें चलती है, ये नहीं कि एक ही दिन में सारी चीज़ें करते हैं।
मैं थीम, आप थीम की बात कर रहे हैं।
हाँ,
Anyways,
yes,
this
yes.
I can discuss one-on-one with you.
Yes.
I am not talking about the themes or the values which can change every week. I am talking about the technique which changes after every 2 weeks or every month, which is my main source of objection to the program as it's implemented. Otherwise, it's great that the program is at least being implemented. I'm repeatedly saying that. My only objection is do not teach them multiple techniques after every month. Do not. आप बात कर रहे हैं वैल्यूज की कि आप एक हफ्ते एक वैल्यू ली, अगले हफ्ते दूसरी वैल्यू ली या दूसरा थीम लिया. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट. एनीवेज आई विल डिस्कस दिस विद यू. Absolutely.
Actually, sir. What I guessed is that we have using 4 techniques. Mindfulness, we have using 4 techniques like hearing sound, focusing on breath. So we are using 4 techniques, and what sir is saying, like we must focus on one. That is what you are saying.
Absolutely. Anyone. And you have to relate it. You have to relate it with their emotions. How will they take control of their emotions with that technique? Please let me explain. We've got very limited time. I'll explain.
Sir.
And then we'll have a one-on-one. Okay? I'll explain very briefly.
मैं उनके में
एक minute. For example, observation of the breath. Right? It's a technique. You have to connect. अगर मैंने सांस को देखते देखते बच्चे को सिखा दिया सांस को देखो, जीवन के कब कब पहलू में किस किस पहलू में वो अपने सांस को देखेंगे जब वो मुसीबत से निकल सकते हैं. राइट? उनको बताया जब तुम्हारे को गुस्सा आ रहा है तब तुम्हारे सांस को क्या होता है. व्हाट हैपेंस टू आवर ब्रेथ व्हेन वी आर एंग्री? द ब्रेथ बिकम्स वेरी फास्ट. इफ दे आर practicing at home on a daily basis, they will immediately know something is going wrong. And if they stay with their breath for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, जो भी गुस्सा आया है, instead of reacting and acting out of that anger, they will just settle down, and out of 10 times, even if they are able to do it once, that's a victory. Right? Similarly for fear. भय जागा, कब जागा भय? क्वेश्चन पूछना है क्लासरूम में या स्पीच देनी है क्लासरूम के आगे खड़े होके, दिल की धड़कन तेज हो जाती है, पसीने आने लग जाते हैं, hands start trembling. It takes, you know that your turn is about to come. For 1 minute, 2 minutes, while you're sitting in your seat, you just observe your breath. You just observe your breath. You're mindful of your breath. By the time your turn comes, your fear would be very much in control. You will end up delivering a better performance than you would have otherwise delivered. You will not get tongue-tied. Stage fright hota hai? 1. When you are having fear or exam ke pehle, before the exam, why do kids every year during the board exams have this issue where they tend to go blank? You're all aware of it. Senior classes, 10th, 12th, for decades it's been happening. Examination fear, and they just freeze. Their mind goes completely blank. Why is it happening? They are not taught how to calm down their mind. उस समय एग्जामिनेशन शुरू करने से पहले 5-10 मिनट का टाइम मिलता है, क्लासरूम में बैठ गए, क्वेश्चन पेपर मिलने से पहले आंसर शीट मिल जाती है, यू राइट योर नेम एंड योर रोल नंबर. Absolutely quiet classroom. Just sit, observe your breath with your eyes closed. जो भी भय जागा है वो सब चला जाएगा या काफी हद तक चला जाएगा. You explain to them. You're playing a match. If there are any sports teachers out here, I'll very quickly share an example of a international sports person. We have a former squash champion called Ritvik Bhattacharya. He was world number 3 or 4 once upon a time. At the age of 17, he was referred to me. So this is many years back. Abhi he must be in his 30s. So he was referred to me. His issue was, जिन international tournaments में, quarter finals में, initial rounds में, वो अच्छे players को हरा देता था. Semi finals में और finals में पहुंचकर वो उनसे हार जाता था. जिन players को वो preliminary rounds में हरा देता था, semi finals में और finals में आके उन्हीं players से हार जाता था आराम से. And there was a pattern which had started emerging. At the age of 17, his trainers, he was training in England. He was given a sponsorship by Thappers because he had that potential. At the age of 17, they had sent him to England for training. And he was sent to me with this condition. So I said, you try this and it will help you. You'll have to take out, 10 days of your life. So he said, I'm training 6 to 8 hours every day. I can't take out 10 days of my life for this. I said, I'm sorry, this is not too much I can do if you can't do that. Because at that time, this technique was not, you're not allowed to tell this technique or teach this technique commonly. I forgot about this. This was somewhere in the early, about 15 odd years back, 15, 16 years back. Much later, I read his interview somewhere, either on YouTube or somewhere, where he had stated that he had this problem earlier on in his career, and then he attended this retreat where he was able to go to the depths and understand how the fear is causing him these problems and overcome the fear and then perform better. Right? The same technique. So you have to connect the technique with what they are going through in life experientially. पढ़ के अच्छा है, stories बताते हैं उनको अच्छा है, ज़रूरी है. बच्चों को stories से आप connect कर सकते हैं. But stories is still not experiential. Stories are still stories just to get them clued in. Stories बताते हैं उनको तो उनका interest बढ़ता है. लेकिन उनका experience में वो बात उतरी नहीं है अभी तक story बता के. Are you understanding me? Yeah. Right. Okay. I'll discuss this with you later. Yeah. Yes, please.
Just want to know other ways of engagement you were talking about.
There might be a whole lot of other ways of engagement. I am sharing with you one of the most effective ways of engagement that I've come across as an educator over the past 18 odd years. One of the most effective, secular, non-controversial. Otherwise, you have to be very careful as an educator कि अगर कुछ गड़बड़ तरीका introduce कर दिया आपने, तो आपको कोई भरोसा नहीं, गेट के बाहर आपको you'll find next day about 20-30 parents, with red flags. So you have to be very careful. One sec, let him finish, please. Yeah. This is not the only way. This is not the only way. There are, 3-4 techniques about mindfulness which are being shared. So there are other techniques also. My experience of the past 18 years, and I've got experience across the country and outside, this is one of the most effective, non-controversial, and subtlest and the most powerful ways of developing as yourself, as an adult, and then sharing it with your kids. One of the most effective ways.
माइंडफुलनेस को हम कैसे करा सकते हैं, वो हमारे पास ऑप्शंस हैं कि हम अपनी सांस पर ध्यान दे सकते हैं. नहीं सांस पर बच्चा ध्यान दे रहा है तो नीचे सर करके शांत बैठ सकता है. दैट इज़ नॉट टेक्निक्स. टेक्निक्स इज ओनली माइंडफुलनेस. माइंडफुलनेस है कि बच्चा अपने आसपास के वातावरण से मतलब कि अवेयर हो पाए. That is the technique.
Sir, I'll discuss this with you because see, my experience is deeper than what your exposure to this technique is. So if I say something, I'm sure you will disagree because of your experience. But my experience is much deeper, so please take my word for it. That's all I can say. Yes, ma'am.
I have a thing to share that I have been a practitioner of Vipassana as well as 3SRV technique. So breathing has many dimensions and it has a great healing potential. We are aware of that. But when we are talking of engaging classrooms, we have so many other things to deliver, which have to be very, very communicative, interesting and joyful. So when we talk of only breathing technique in isolation, so what is your take on that?
Right. So what this, this is just a beginning. This is just a beginning in getting their scattered minds together. After that, your skill as an educator will come into play, and also as a person as to how centered you are at that moment.
In that way, I see it as a good starter of the class or as a powerful start of the classroom, not a whole process of learning.
it is an amazing foundation. It can be an amazing foundation on which you can base your learning sessions. So as a educator, for yourself, as well as for the learners. And then if you're able to offer them a technique which can enhance every aspect of their life, what does an educator want? Any other question?
सर सर
Yeah.
सर आपने जो टेक्निक बताया है कि अपना सांस को ऑब्जर्व करने का ओनली, तो कुछ कुछ ये विपासना से मैच करता है और इसको मैं काफ़ी टाइम किया, बच्चों के साथ भी करवाया है। लेकिन जब हमारे क्लासरूम में डिफरेंट डिफरेंट टाइप के बच्चे होते हैं, अलग अलग सेक्टर से होते हैं, अलग अलग थॉट प्रोसेस के साथ, एक्सपीरियंस के साथ वो आते हैं, तो उन सबको हम एक ही टेक्निक से या एक टेक्निक अप्लाई किया, कुछ बच्चे तो उसको सीख के आगे बढ़ते हैं, लेकिन हर बच्चे को एक अलग अलग एक्सपोजर चाहिए होता है। तो एक ही टेक्निक पे हम लगातार बच्चों के साथ काम करें तो ये कई बार ऐसा होता है कि बच्चे क्लासरूम से बाहर चले जाते हैं।
Right. Okay. See, it's a
क्या होता है कि बच्चे उसके साथ सीखते हैं जो उनके पास कुछ होता है। सांसें जो है प्रत्येक व्यक्ति लेता हो, सांस जो है तो मतलब आप कोई भी टेक्निक अपनाओ। जैसे कई लोग अगर बड़े बच्चे हो गए तो उनके पास मान लो ये कंप्यूटर है तो उसके साथ करते हैं, कई स्टोरी आपने सुनाई भूल गए, लेकिन प्रत्येक व्यक्ति सांस लेता है। और जैसे सर ने कहा कि जो हैप्पी है वही हैप्पी कर सकता है, जला हुआ दीपक दूसरे दीपक को जला सकता है, चरित्रवान व्यक्ति दूसरे को चरित्र सिखा सकता है, उसी प्रकार ये सांसें काम करती हैं। सही बात।
So there's a reason. There's a reason why this technique is considered, but this is not all in all. It doesn't mean that you take anybody off the street, teach him the technique and send him into the classroom and he'll become a wonderful educator. No. You have to acquire the skills of an educator also. You have to have the knowledge of your subject as well. So all those things have to play a role. Yeah.
Mind training है या is this can be called a mind training or something else?
This is purely a mind training. It's purely a mind training. Mind training, and which is the foundation for any successful venture in any aspect of your life. Any aspect of your life. Because the mind is not there, or mind is infirm or weak, whatever you attempt in life will be on shaky ground. Yeah. See, there are various techniques. The technique which I have had experience with, which is the most effective, most powerful technique, and most non-controversial. We can. Her question is, can we talk when we are practicing this technique? You should not, no, you should not indulge in self-talk, because then it will not remain pure. The technique is pure breath. You just observe the breath purely as it is. No letter, no visualization, no imagination. They're all together, we run out of time. There are 32 different types of techniques. 32 different types of techniques which exist in the world, right? The purest one which you can connect with any time of your life, any time, till the time you're alive, is this one. Other things require external kind of either stimulus or some kind of visualization or verbalization. This doesn't require anything like that. That's why it's called so pure. Yes.
Can you suggest some more techniques for pre-primary section, as I belong to that industry? Yeah.
Pre-primary, okay, we try this with pre-primary. We don't do it in a very formal way with them. So the kids are fighting. Kids are fighting or whatever, throwing mud at each other, doing something naughty. So you call them, okay, come here. Close your eyes and just observe your breath. Half a minute. That's it. Above the age of 8, we do it with them for 10 minutes. For the little ones, informally, just do it for half a minute, 1 minute. they will immediately, they are connected with their innocence, enables them to connect with their self like this. Like this. You will be surprised. And they'll say, yes, when I stood before you, then my breath was very fast, very rapid. And now it's calmed down. When you observe it, if you learn to observe your breath, you're observing the emotions that come out of your body. You're able to, because every emotion is related with the breath. Every emotion. You name it, whether any negativity, it's related with the breath. And you are able to observe any negativity when you observe the breath. You're able to do it when you observe the sensations, which is the next step, the mindfulness of the body. That's a higher step. For the kids, we don't go there. We teach the kids that after a particular age, after they cross 17 or let's say 15. After they cross 15, then we take them to the next level.
Resonates very closely to the Vipassana theory. Is it the same or not?
It is. It's absolutely the part of Vipassana. Absolutely. It's the first step of Vipassana. First step of Vipassana, which in 10-day retreats is taught for the first 3.5 days. For adults. Anapan. Absolutely. Anybody has any questions? Please feel free. Don't ask me about other techniques. There are other techniques. Many of them which might appear even stronger, more powerful. This is the most natural, most secular, most non-controversial technique available. And that is the reason why even in schools in America, Europe, it is finding acceptance. And I won't be surprised, because it has found acceptance in those countries, it'll come back to India and find acceptance here after a few years. Yeah.
सर मैं पूछना चाह रही थी सर मैं ये पूछना चाह रही थी कि हमने अपनी ब्रीदिंग को ऑब्जर्व करके अवेयर हुए हम अपने स्टेट ऑफ माइंड से और फिर चेंज किया क्या यही टेक्निक है ये
अपनी ब्रीदिंग को ऑब्जर्व करके
हमने अवेयर हुए कि हम किस स्टेट ऑफ माइंड में हैं और फिर उसको हमने चेंज किया अपने स्टेट ऑफ माइंड को
सो इनका क्वेश्चन है कि अगर हमने अपनी ब्रेथ को ऑब्जर्व कर लिया तो हमारा स्टेट ऑफ माइंड कॉन्शियसली चेंज होएगा ये प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड ओके आई विल गो अ बिट डीपर व्हाट हैपेंस व्हेन वी ऑब्जर्व द ब्रेथ व्हेन वी आर विद द ब्रेथ कंप्लीटली देन वी acquire the ability to be in the present moment for those few moments. वर्तमान में जीवन जीने की बात सुनते हैं आप, लिव इन द नाउ, पावर ऑफ नाउ, एखार्ट टोल वगैरह वगैरह, बहुत लोगों को पढ़ा होगा आपने. एखार्ट टोल या हमारे तो साहित्य में भरा हुआ है, लिव इन द नाउ, वर्तमान में जियो. जब हम अपनी सांस के साथ होते हैं, शुद्ध सांस, तब हम वर्तमान से जुड़े हुए होते हैं. और जब हम वर्तमान में जी रहे होते हैं तब तनाव से एकदम अलग हो जाते हैं. तनाव होता है क्योंकि हम फ्यूचर में जाते हैं या पास्ट में जाते हैं, तब जीवन में तनाव आता है. जब वर्तमान में होते हैं तब तनाव से एकदम परे हट जाते हैं और हमारा तार इस कुदरत की, इस कायनात की, इस सृष्टि की, आप उसको भगवान कह दीजिए, गॉड कह दीजिए, जिसमें भी आप बिलीव करते हैं, इस कुदरत की एनर्जी सोर्स से जुड़ जाती है. एंड देन द माइंड स्टार्ट्स गेटिंग एनर्जाइज्ड एंड मोर पावरफुल.
ऑब्जर्व करने से ही क्या हम इस तनाव से दूर हो सकते हैं?
अगर आप
just we have to go on the stage or just before that 2-3 minutes breathing observation is sufficient?
If for 2-3 minutes you're constantly with the breath, अगर आप 10 मिनट आप बैठे आंख बंद करके और उस 10 मिनट में आपने सिर्फ 10 सेकंड आप अपने सांस के साथ रहे, you will experience something amazing which you wouldn't have experienced ever. सिर्फ 10 सेकंड, मैं तो मिनटों की बात नहीं कर रहा, मैं सेकंड की बात कर रहा हूँ. If you and we ask the kids to write down their experience. तो बच्चे लिखते हैं, उनको बोलते हैं you can write down or you can share your experience by drawing. And then they draw or they write down and they write that I felt like a bird flying in the sky. I felt like a cloud floating in the sky. I thought that I was walking on the moon in slow motion. It's very difficult to explain. It's when the mind becomes so light, it's blissful. That feeling is blissful. I can't explain it. गूंगे का गुड़ होता है ना, गूंगे का गुड़ होता है. तो जब आप चखेंगे आपको समझ आ जाएगा. कुछ सेकंड भी आपने एक्सपीरियंस कर लिया तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा इसकी शक्ति क्या है, इसकी पावरफुल क्या है, क्या इसकी पावर है. थोड़ा सा बढ़ा दो, थोड़ा सा बढ़ा. If you want to practice it, we can practice it for 5 minutes.
हेलो सर, हमारे बच्चों का जो स्कैटर्ड माइंड है और टीचर्स का, उसको ठीक करने के लिए विपश्यना का आनापान अच्छा है या माइंडफुलनेस?
माइंडफुलनेस एक टर्म है जो विपश्यना जब वेस्ट में पाश्चात्य देशों में गई, तो वहाँ पर उसका नाम विपश्यना से बदलकर उन्होंने माइंडफुलनेस रख दिया.
लेकिन जो हम दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट के स्कूलों में जो करा रहे हैं माइंडफुलनेस, वो आनापान से अलग है.
वही मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ. तो उसमें जो वो पहलू बच्चों को सिखा रहे हैं, मेरे मत में,
क्योंकि मैंने भी विपश्यना की है,
हाँ, तो वो सारे पहलू उनको बच्चों को इंट्रोड्यूस करवाना, उनको कंफ्यूज करने जैसे
कंफ्यूज कर रहे हैं. ओके सर, थैंक यू.
Thank you so much. If somebody would like to, any of you would like to stay back for 5 minutes and practice it, we can do that. So, जो practice करना चाहें, they can come forward, and those who would like to leave, they can leave. बाद में कर देंगे बच्चों को. हाँ, आगे आ जाइए, आगे थोड़ा सा आगे आ जाइए. जो चश्मा लगाते हैं, चश्मा, all those who wear glasses can take off their glasses. All those who wear glasses can take off their glasses. कमर, जो ग्लास चश्मा लगाते हैं, चश्मा उतार दीजिए, चश्मा उतार दीजिए. सर, चश्मा उतार दीजिए. कमर, गर्दन सीधी. कोशिश करें कि आप जो सहारा लेके बैठे हैं, सहारा लेके मत बैठिए, क्योंकि आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा कब नींद के झोंके आ जाएंगे और आप सो जाएंगे. आई एम नॉट जोकिंग, इट हैपन्स. पूरा ध्यान एक बार अभी आंख खोल लीजिए, देख लीजिए. इस हिस्से में सिर्फ अपने ध्यान को केंद्रित करना है, इस हिस्से में बस. इसके पीछे सांस कहाँ जाती है, कहाँ से आती है, उसके ऊपर कुछ नहीं आपने सोचना. राइट? कंट्रोल नहीं करना. चश्मा उतार दीजिए. कंट्रोल नहीं करना, सांस को कंट्रोल नहीं करना. जैसी है वैसी ही जानना है बस. जैसा है सिर्फ वैसा ही जानना है, एक्सपीरियंस करना है. राइट? इस हिस्से में अब मन आपका बार बार भटकेगा, आवाज आएगी आस पड़ोस से वगैरह, आने दीजिए. आसान नहीं है, फिर भी कोशिश करते हैं. तो बार बार उसको अपनी सांस पे ले आइए. यू विल बी एबल टू सेंस इट. अगर महसूस नहीं हो तो 5-6 सांस गहरी लेकर देख लीजिए. कॉन्शियस सांस 5-6, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं. सांस से तार जुड़ जाएगा, मन का तार सांस से, फिर स्वाभाविक सांस को देखेंगे. ठीक है? कमर गर्दन सीधी, आंख बंद, बैठ जाइए. प्लीज सिट डाउन. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ सीट्स. आईज क्लोज. हैंड्स कंफर्टेबली, जहां पे आपको हिलाना डुलाना की जरूरत ना लगे, कंफर्टेबली. एनीवे, एनी कंफर्टेबल पोस्चर. सारा ध्यान सांस पर, भीतर आने वाली सांस, बाहर जाने वाली सांस, इस समय जैसी भी हो, सिर्फ उसको जानना है. Just know it. Don't try to change it. If it's short, let it be short. If it's long, let it be long. As it is, just know it. Just know the breath as it is. The mind will wander away repeatedly. Bring the mind back to the breath. You'll wander away to the sounds, to the thoughts. Bring it back. Bring it back repeatedly, repeatedly to your respiration. It's a past habit of the mind to wander away again and again and again. What you're trying to do is gain mastery over your mind by observing it. Just passive observation of the respiration as it is right now. That's all. Without any effort. Don't make any effort. Just know your breathing as it is. Pure, natural breath as it is. को बोल दो भी. If the mind wanders away, to bring it back, you have to bring it back repeatedly. And if you can't experience the natural respiration, then just take 5, 6 conscious breathing. Just 5 or 6 of them. And then revert back to the natural respiration after that. Keeping your back and your neck straight. If your back bends or your neck starts bending, then you'll start feeling lazy and you just might doze off. Remaining very still, but also very alert to your own respiration. There'll be thoughts, sounds which will disturb you. It's fine. Let them be there. Bring your mind back repeatedly to your own breathing, to your own respiration as it is. Just know your breath, your own breath, natural breath as it is. remaining very still and very alert. Observing every breath that's going in and coming out, like an alert watchman who knows who's coming through the doors and going out. Remaining very alert about your own respiration, about your own breathing, as it is happening right now, without trying to change it in any way. Don't try to change it. Just know it as it is. As it is. Just be aware of it as it is right now. Keep your back and your neck straight, otherwise you'll start feeling drowsy and doze off before you know it. Okay, you may open your eyes now. Anybody has any questions? Yeah. How much time did you do it right now? How much time do you think you did it for? Yeah, you felt very long because exactly, that's why you felt it was very long. When you are with the breath, then time will just fly. Then even if you do it for 1 hour, it'll seem like, oh, I just sat. That's what happens in life also. You know, if you go to a hospital and you're waiting for a loved one to come out of a surgery or something, that 1 hour seems like eternity. You know, time just stands still. And sorry? 6 minutes, 7 minutes. So you can make your kids do it for 2-3 minutes before you start the class. And if there's more time, then longer. But 2-3 minutes, and regularly you make them do, you will definitely see a tangible change after a few weeks, a few months. And those kids who practice it daily in their lives, we've maybe an occasion comes, we'll share, we made a film with a school which has been practicing it for 14 years daily. And we do residential courses for the kids in that school. One is happening right now, where we teach them the same technique. So we made a film which we can share if at all we have another occasion.
What is the right time to, practice this?
Anytime. Anytime, if you can go to sleep, you lie down on the bed, you lie down relaxed, and just observe your breath and drift into sleep. And then just see how you feel the next day. Just see how the quality of your sleep the next day.
बड़ा मजा आ गया मुझे तो 5 मिनट में बस इतना ही
अच्छा मजा या
गवर्नमेंट स्कूलों में बच्चों को ये माइंडफुलनेस ना करा के उनको आवाज़ सुनने के लिए कहा जाता है आपको कैसी आवाज़ सुनी बच्चे बोलते हैं चिड़िया की आवाज़ सुनी पंखे के तो ऐसा क्यों व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस
वो तो जो मैनेजमेंट है या एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है उनके डिसीजन है उसमें आई कांट से एनीथिंग मोर जो कर रहे हैं अच्छा ही है ऑल्सो यस Any other question? Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you.